think we're good. Yep. Welcome everybody. Yeah, see, look, it's already there. Let's just go with the fault straight away. Not even within within the first 30 seconds. Anyway, welcome everybody to another Misadventure with John and his friends. We are missing a Matt this week because he decided he wanted to go out and be a person. Fuck him. Nelly is filling in. I know, why would you? Nelly is filling in the guest role this week for us. So, hello again, Nelly.
Hello.
So the new format, we started it last week. So we're kind of just taking a portion each, but we do have two, certainly within the Discord, two big things that have been getting talked about. One specifically today, and then sort of another one just kind of over the course of the last couple of days. So we'll get them out of the way, and then we'll go over some other stuff. So let's get the fun one up front. Or should we do that after? Because we're all going to be feeling pretty fucking.
Yeah, I think that we would get a second wind if we do it later.
Yeah, cool. Right, so.
We didn't plan this, don't worry. It wouldn't be a misadventure if we did.
I need to. Phil, go and stick it in Discord that we're alive.
What are you talking about? Which one are we talking about?
Mine and yours, whatever you want to do. Whatever you think. Because I totally forgot.
We are off to a flying start. This
Perfect.
is brilliant.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired today. But luckily, with the new format, and after like the next sort of 20-30 minutes, I can just kind of fall asleep and you guys can take it and it's all good. And I'll wake up towards the end and do the end bit.
You'll wake up with stuff drawn all over your face.
Yeah, somehow.
There is a Callum in your house for some reason.
So, though very, very quietly actually, which I was kind of a bit suspect about, Article 13 and Article 11 have been passed through European Parliament, are now basically EU member states have up to 2 years to impose their version of that law. Hopefully in the UK that may be held off, but it's happening. The internet has been censored, for better or worse. So, I mean, Phil, like that's kind of what's going to happen, realistically, man. Like, so these upload filters that are going to be coming into play, it's only going to be. What's that?
You're reading it backwards. You think it's negative for you, but it's negative for the big guys. It's good for the little guys.
How so?
In what way?
Well, people who are making the music or whatever, they now get paid for it instead of it being stolen, and then Google making money off it because somebody else acquires it via Google. Google get money out of that ad revenue or whatever, and the person who made it didn't get anything.
So that makes sense in that regard for like small creators of original content. That, yeah, fair enough. But when you look at something like Twitch, and I saw an article that brought up the what would happen to something like Twitch is, and the example they gave was if someone uses Mario for an emote, for instance, because they don't own that content, that Twitch could have to, with like, you know, no choice, they could have to either stop them using that emote, or for somebody in Europe, they would have to stop that person being able to view that channel. So
pay Nintendo, isn't it?
Which realistically, for what Nintendo are going to ask for, is not going to happen. But even so, there's still the possibility that it will get blocked for anybody in Europe. There's going to be sites that use, you know, other content and content they haven't made that are then potentially going to get blocked for people in EU. This is the thing, like what you're saying about the music and stuff is spot on. Small creators of music and that, fantastic. They're going to get all the money they deserve. But then something like this, or something like somebody, even like I said, like that example of the emote, the Mario emote, that could be enough for Twitch to go, we're not going to pay for this, so we're just going to cut them off.
But they could just delete the emote. In that case, they could just delete the emote, couldn't they? They don't need to cut them off. They could just get rid of the emote. But they have stolen it. It's not there. They shouldn't be using it.
No, I know.
So,
I know.
You know, it's I mean, I'm certainly not in favour of big companies just being able to shit on all the little people, but there is a genuine issue that needs to be addressed. People just using other people's material. If it applies to the little guys, it has to apply to the big guys as well. Where I do think there's an issue is that the big guys are the ones who will bring the big guns out and get the expensive lawyers and all that, and the little guys won't even be able to really do that. So that's the main issue I have with it. I don't really think Twitch is particularly affected. I think YouTube it's a problem for, because there's loads of copyrighted stuff on there.
But Twitch are one.
Twitter, less. I don't think the thing about the memes and stuff, where them using a blanket ban on that, it gets caught. It might be actually legal, but Twitter won't be able to tell whether it's a legal one or not, so they just ban everything. That's a bit of a danger, but most memes and stuff are going to be on those things like Twitter, and not so much stolen content. It's
see the thing
Twitch is original stuff. I mean, sorry, go ahead, Bob. I've been talking a lot.
That's all right. I mean, one of the things that that copyright can't touch are things like parodies, and you could consider, and this is where you need people with big legal guns to get this put through, but you could consider a meme to be a parody of something, even if it's taking like an original still from a particular film or somebody's picture. I mean, think about it. If people like Bad Luck Brian, the actual people in those pictures who really strongly objected.
In a lot of cases, don't actually want to be in those anymore.
True, there are a few folks who are kind of like, right, we're kind of sick of being this meme, which is understandable when you're just getting loads of attention for no reason that you didn't ask for, you didn't plan for.
I'm very quiet, am I?
Oh yeah, because you rebalanced all your audio.
Quite often those images you're talking about will not be owned by the person, by the subject. They'll be owned by somebody who's taken them. So then you've got a weird relationship where somebody else owns the copyright and they're not able to, or they're trying to protect it because they say it's been stolen, but then it's a meme, so it's protected expression or whatever. So then it's the people who own it can't enforce their copyright, and therefore the subject is used in a way they're not happy about. But that isn't really anything new that this law has added, though, is it? That's something that exists as it is. This doesn't address that. If anything, this has got extra provisions to not address that, where it could be written in such a way that it would have. Though there's been this thing about the memes that would have been protected anyway, and because European law can't violate it's not human rights, but it's similar sort of human rights.
Yeah, Geneva Convention.
You can't torture or
you can't torture a meme.
No, but there are. I can't remember now. I actually recorded this somewhere. I made notes on this too. I'll see if I can find it. But there is a. Oh, here it is. I've got it. The Charter of Fundamental Rights of the European Union. So no European law can contradict them. So it has to be, any law they do make has to be interpreted in a way that's consistent with that charter. So, and the European Parliament can't just change that. That would have to be, to change that, it would take all members to
vote on it.
To vote on it, yeah. So the fact that that's been added to this law about this memes thing is kind of irrelevant, but it's more that it's formalised that. But that would have been the case anyway, because it is protected for freedom of expression and things like that. We're protected by that.
Okay. It does
Yeah.
add a bit of explanation as to why I've been seeing the Article 13 things pop up on YouTube quite often. It's like protect your internet and whatnot, and it's like, okay, well, YouTube stand to lose a lot, and that makes sense why
Yeah.
they're suddenly because I thought to myself, it's a bit odd that YouTube are getting involved in something that affects people
So
I think,
rather than exploiting them.
but because copyright laws have always been a thing, so the main
Hmm.
difference that the Article 13 thing seems to be making, as far as I'm concerned, from again one afternoon's worth of research because that's all I did, is like they're making it the company's responsibility again,
yeah,
rather than like
Rather
the
than,
individuals, which is good in a way, but also because the companies don't care so much about individual people as much as about their business, is that their rules about it will probably be very strict compared to what it might have been when it was on an individual basis.
the way it looks right now is like the idea is either like take like YouTube or Twitch or something like that.
Mm.
The current thing is upload fillers or just outright banning that and banning access to that content if you're within the European Union, which is where the sticking point is for a lot of people because obviously there are good things about this, but there is some immensely bad things that could come out of it. You know, fair enough, putting the responsibility on the website that's hosting the content. That's fine. It takes the pressure off of people. But then, there's multiple things that can come out of that. People could abuse that system and go, "Well, YouTube's responsible for it, not me." And there could be stuff like that. There could be, there's always the worry of like, um, I wouldn't not think that there's a development company out there that gets a negative video from someone on YouTube and goes, "That's ours. You can't say this," and then they just start abusing that as well, so that people can't say anything bad about their stuff because then they can go, "Yo, we're gonna claim that it's ours, and everything you've just said, you're no longer allowed to say."
that already happens though. They use the same the same banning technology is applied as it stands against like on YouTube against people. Yeah, I think it doesn't work if you're not monetizing your YouTube, but if you put it on ads, it puts it on and then it'll flag stuff and it'll flag stuff like and they'll get flags from 5 different companies who all claim the same thing as theirs and it's already being abused by the people who do own the content. So it's going to be those same people requesting the same thing. Only this time, YouTube will be responsible for paying them more.
You take that concept of YouTube then being responsible for it. So then, what do YouTube do at that point? Do they then go, we'll give this guy a pass and we'll just sort it out? And then they do that all the time for all these videos that are being claimed by all these different people? Or do they then just go, "We're not fucking paying for it, so see you later"?
Some like Twitch would have to, because
They
if
though.
Twitch is going to get in trouble, but they haven't got anything else.
We'll change the context of it, right? So you're using someone's thing and you've got business and using somebody's thing, right? And then they come and they claim on it. Are you gonna then go, right? Okay, sure, we'll pay for it. Or are you gonna just go, "We're not gonna fucking use it"? Because that's essentially what it breaks down to.
But if it was like the gaming copyright, like if it's like streamers, because that's what the thing that was being talked about before was like, how would it affect a video game streamer? Because they're essentially streaming someone's content.
I think a lot of it's going to come down to just the good graces of developers and publishers, honestly.
The studios, they'll see it as a positive that's been streamed.
I don't think any company in its right mind is going to fight against.
Well, I think that might
someone
be what
using
Nintendo.
Nintendo was.
Yeah, they were doing it, but now
they've become better.
They've relaxed a lot of their stuff. So like they used to only have like a Nintendo's creators program, but they got rid of that and have relaxed all of their rules and how much they copyright claim on because they realized that it was actually doing them more damage than it was worth to because as
publicity.
Well their creators program was like it wasn't worth it for the people doing the content because they were taking like like fucking silly money off them. Like 70% of what they were making on those videos, Nintendo was taking. It was ridiculous. And it was like, we'll give you the game for free though. And it's like, but you're taking 90%, like you're taking so much of my money from doing the content that it's not really worth getting the game for free. Because what, it saves me like 40 quid at that point. What's the, there's no benefit there for me.
Yeah, they rigged it all to make it a money making scheme for themselves.
And how that, I think, dovetails into this is where if they could have targeted big streamers and said you've got to pony up 70% of your money or whatever, otherwise we're taking you to court. And they'll said, okay, well, we do it or we don't stream your content. Some of them do, some of them don't. And the little guys would just carry on. But Nintendo don't give a shit because it's not worth them chasing it because there isn't any money there for them, even if they did. But now you bring in this thing where there's content ID and stuff applied to it. The streamers who were paying for it are going to start saying, why are all these people doing it and they're not paying it? And you can do it. You've got technology. You should be forcing them to do it. So they've had to either piss a lot of people off or just pull the whole thing.
So
that's how I see that.
Azza in the chat is saying, aren't they supposedly going to be using AI to police what they're yeah. So essentially, yes. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be building a program that is going to basically filter any uploads. But therein lies the problem, which we've learned through YouTube. YouTube has its algorithms that tick away and they try and catch videos and stuff. But the amount of videos that get incorrectly flagged in a negative capacity and the damage that it does to those people, particularly the small creators, the larger ones can get by because they'll have things like Patreons and stuff like that set up where they're getting other funding. So if they get demonetized, it's not great, but they'll be okay. But smaller creators who can't be monetized are then going to get flagged for things that they're not actually responsible for. And that's going to cause problems, and you're going to have an AI or a bot or a script in control of this. It's asking for problems. And then there's the idea of that's going to cost money to do that. So how many of these sites, these big sites, people like YouTube, like Twitch, even journalism stuff like IGN and that, they're probably going to be fine to do this, but smaller places, smaller stuff. Like I'm very, very curious what's going to happen to something like DL Live with this when it goes through, because they don't have the money in the backing that Twitch do. They don't have the money in the backing that YouTube do. So what's going to happen to them? Some smaller sort of, for me, some smaller gaming sites, like one that I use quite often is VG247, or like something like Push Square. They're not big, they're not massively known, but places like Kotaku and Polygon, again, will be fine. It's, I think there is, like I said, I think there's going to be some good come out of this, and hopefully there's going to be more good than bad come out of it. But the scope for the bad to come from it is insane, and I really hope it doesn't go to that point.
I agree with what you're saying. I do think the bad isn't the law though. I don't think the law's wrong on that aspect. I think it might be the enforcement or the implementation. But that is too difficult for them to do effectively, and that might have some negative effects. That doesn't mean to say that principle of the law is wrong. It might just be impractical. So I suppose we should wait and see, really. But to be honest, I think it's a bit of a storm in the teacup. It probably won't affect us on Twitch too badly. I don't really think Twitch is.
I hope for all of my streaming friends, you guys like Phil, Matt, and the other guys in our community and Twitch in general, for the people watching and stuff, like I genuinely hope that this does not turn into a shitstorm. I genuinely hope that I don't see people losing channels and causing problems and having issues and losing their livelihoods that they're trying to build. Like Matt is 17 and he's doing really well, and I really don't want to see it go tits up for him. And that's the bit that worries me. That's the bit that really genuinely terrifies me, is that if this doesn't go well and it goes badly, and people you can call me a pessimist for this if you want. I'm going to call it, I'm just keeping an eye on it, and I'm worried about my friends, and I'm worried about what I do, the content that I make. I really just don't, because So this is something I didn't get a chance to mention on Monday. I have been doing this now for a year and about 3 weeks, and I have worked my ass off at this. I have worked harder on this than I've ever worked on anything in my life. I have made some fantastic friends through this. Nelly, you, Richard, Ninja, even though he caused me some problems on Monday. Phil, Bob, we already knew each other beforehand, but
Bob, not you.
I don't care.
You don't go on the list, Bob.
I've met some people and I'm building this community that I love and I never want to see go away. And there is that thing in the back of my head as that creator going, I need to be so much more careful now about what I'm doing, about the things I'm posting. You know, it's fine within Discord, but, you know, on Twitch, fuck man, I just don't want this to be a bad thing. I genuinely hope that the good outweighs the bad. But there is going to be a bit in me that is always going to be prepared for the bad to come. So whether that means adapting how we do this, we'll have to decide and talk about that and discuss it as and when we find out more and more information.
Well, we don't play music.
We don't play music, no.
We don't play any content. We don't have copyrighted images. We don't have.
We do, however, post links in our chat. So
the links is exempt, isn't it?
No,
up to a certain.
There's a link tax as well. So like, I don't know what the specifics of it are because there doesn't seem to be a hell of a lot in specifics right now because it's going to be based on each member state and what they set up. Yeah. So like for us, I don't know. I genuinely don't, because there isn't anything specific relating to us.
It's odd that this is a directive, actually. Why is it a directive? Yeah, it would have made sense to be a regulation, because surely you don't want... I mean, it's 28 EU countries, 3 more EEA countries. Anybody else that decides to adopt the same sort of process, if they all have to implement it separately, that's potentially, I mean, just on the EEA member states, that's 31 different interpretations, 31 different systems that YouTube's got to do just for the...
Which is what then makes me think, why the fuck would they bother? Why not just fucking cut everybody off? Because it's going to be cheaper, it's going to be quicker, and it's going to be easier for them.
Well, I mean, this is a less extreme example, but when GDPR came into force, a lot of companies were ready to just go with it. It wasn't exactly severe monetary loss that was going to be a problem there, though the fines, if they weren't going to follow the law, are quite significant now. GDPR can enforce far higher fines on companies that don't protect data, which is a good thing, because the number of times people have had identity fraud committed against them because some asshole didn't protect the data they were collecting. It's...
Just before we carry on, Master Lucifer, thank you for the follow. He asked us a question of, if you were in the opposite gender for 1 year, what would be the first thing you do? I think that's a pretty obvious question when you ask a man. But that's maybe just me.
I would.
That was definitely directed exactly at John, though. That was tagged. Yeah. It was tagged at you, so clearly none of the rest of us have to answer.
Yeah.
I'd
shoot anyway, Nelly. So let's get Nelly's answer.
I'm good.
Let's get Nelly's answer. What would you do, Nelly?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I'd eat a pizza.
Pretty much I do.
Yeah. Okay. I do what I do every day. I'd eat.
And he's also asking, do you think this could affect advertisers too? I don't know. I don't think so, because the advertisers pick where their content goes, realistically, these days on YouTube. It didn't used to be that way. It used to just kind of got thrown on whatever. But now that they need to have content that matches up with their what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember. But they need content that matches up to them, and I don't foresee it affecting advertisers. I foresee it affecting who gets advertisers, but not the advertisers themselves.
What about like sponsorships for like people who make YouTube channels?
Because there's like different, because it's that company going to that person and going.
But for things like
stuff, so promoters.
Yeah, but for like things like some of the YouTubers I watch are sponsored by then the games that they play.
Mm.
So then if they had like an automated system on YouTube that was like, oh, this has, you know, the soundtrack from this game, so now it's copyrighted. How are they going to get, like, if you're sponsored by them, presumably you're allowed to use their soundtrack. Like,
I think with the way things work now on YouTube, you have to advertise if you're being sponsored, if it's a paid sponsorship. So that
that would be something they'd have to put into AI
so
if they're going to
there's-
delete.
You know, you've got like the hashtag
Yeah.
ad thing. You've also got like tags that say this. There's also the video descriptions that have to say this game has been given to me by blah blah blah. They're paying for me to do this content. So I can't foresee that being an issue.
The one question is how does this algorithm confirm if that person genuinely does have that
Yeah.
permission though?
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know.
Like
Because anyone could be like, oh, I'm
do
now
they put the
sponsored
content
by...
on hold while they verify it
I mean, this
through
is the
another
other
channel?
thing. So while they do the upload filter and they're going to have that run, you know, as an AI, they're also going to have to employ teams, and I mean big teams of people to deal with this, to deal with the runoff, because it's fair. But then you're going to have these people who are going to fight the claim, and they're going to go, but this is fine. We're allowed to do this. You know, we have the permission to use this. So YouTube are going to have actual people there to make judgment calls.
Well,
But they're part of the... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I'm just making a throwaway comment. That'll drive employment up. That's not so bad.
Yeah.
But then everybody's just going to expect at that point for these companies to go, yeah, sure, we'll fucking employ like team of 50 to do this and piss money away on it.
But something that I read said that part of it, part of the Article 13 is that the companies have to have a way for content providers to quickly complain that their content's been taken down. So part of the actual rules that they put into it, part of what EU's put into it, is to say that they have to then have a system in place that means you can then sort of I can't think what the word is, you know, point out that your stuff's been taken down unfairly.
Yeah, you can challenge it. Challenge the decision.
But like each company has to have a way to put something in that means that people can do that quickly, challenge it.
Arbitration process.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was like a sentence that I read once.
Yeah.
At some point. I don't know what article it was in, but it was in an article.
Just
We've
very
got a
quick-
question.
Yeah.
Stop twisting.
Just before we move on to the next thing, which is hopefully going to cheer us all up. Certainly cheer me up. As I was asking, I'm wondering how it's going to affect my work, because I work in retail front with an online presence, so will it flag the images and descriptions we use? Probably not again. I imagine that online storefronts that are legitimate, will be fine. Because
But it's not going to flag you anyway.
Yeah, it's not
It's not going to flag you because you're on your own site.
Yeah.
So
as long as the companies are, you know, the people are aware that these companies that's what they're selling, and they're perfectly entitled to sell that stuff, then sure, fine, it'll be fine. Yeah. Like, one of the things that just kind of popped in my head there is, like, for instance, Blue's got her Etsy store. She's got a diva print on there. That's
what
not
I
her
was thinking about
content.
before.
Yeah.
So that could easily be flagged, and then Etsy could be in trouble.
But
for
like,
that, and then they'll tell Blue to take it down.
yeah.
However, it is. Sorry to cut you off there. Did not mean.
Go.
Would it still be protected by that sort of parodying art set of laws, or does that?
the issue is she's charging money for it.
Yeah.
If she's doing it for free, probably wouldn't be. But if she then,
Right
that's
now,
somebody else's.
Yeah.
It's her piece of work. I think she'd probably be okay. I doubt it would get.
Right now,
I would.
the unwritten rule is that if you're not making a lot of it, most companies will leave you alone. But then when it becomes a thing where they have to take action, again,
But there's so much of it.
we won't know until it happens, until
Yeah.
there's specific rules for that kind of thing. This is, again, like I said, this is the problem. It's so... There's just nothing there that really ties to anything. There's just sort of like this overarching thing. Everybody's like, oh, this is how it's going to... And then it's like... But we don't know yet, because nothing. It's literally been in for 2 days. Very, very sneakily in for 2 days. Only 5 people objected to it. 5 people. Out of all the people in that parliament, in the European Parliament, 5 people rejected it. Which
It wasn't 5. It was.
fucking
It wasn't that close.
think
Wasn't it
11,
was-
maybe it was just Article 11, but one of them only had 5 people go against it. One of the only had 5 people fight it. They went no, which is insane. Anyway, since we're only going to get away with this for a little while longer, here's what we're talking about next. Check the stream, guys.
Oh, look, there's a horse.
It's happening! It's real! It's finally fucking set. Fuck knows how many years later. There's a teaser for Borderlands 3. It's fucking happening. We're getting it hopefully this year. It's getting talked about tomorrow. I want to see some fucking gameplay from PAX because I've been waiting so fucking long for this. So, in that trailer, in that teaser, is pretty much everything, I guess. You've got the 2 villains right at the start, at the top, the big heads with the haircuts. You've got the 4 new
With the
Vault Hunters.
haircuts.
Yeah, the 4 new Vault Hunters. You've got 3 of the old Vault Hunters. Tiny Tina's in there. There's new vehicles. There's a ton of weapons. There's also, apparently, people have been breaking down the trailer. There's several shift codes that are in the trailer hidden away. If you put them, like, there's loads of little codes, and you put them together, you get shift codes, so you can go and get some free shit. There is also, hang on, let me just bring this up. There is also some hidden messages in that trailer as well. Which, if you give me a second.
And I thought I was doing well when I spotted Hammerlock.
Where is it? Yep, so there's also some new faces in the shot which focus on different vehicles, people, and objects as they come together to create the iconic psychomass, which becomes synonymous, blah blah. You've got Eli's, one of the commenters over at Collider. You might have noticed a flashing light, which is communicating a hidden message via Morse code. Fans of the franchise will probably glean something important from the translation. Count the sirens. So, Nelly, I know that you've not played Borderlands 2, and come Friday you'll start playing it. So,
Being threatened.
in Borderlands, there is only ever allowed to be, I think, 7 sirens in existence.
6.
Is it 6? So there you go.
Yep,
6 sirens in
6.
existence. We know who 2 of them are. One is Lilith from the first game, one is Maya from the second, which means there's 4 other ones out there. In fact, sorry, we know who 3 of them are. One of them is a spoiler for you if you're going to play it.
Well, Angel.
Wow. Fuck.
As-
So we know who 3 of them are. There's 3 still out there that we don't know who they are, and one of them I think is going to be in this game. There's certainly speculation of one of those 4 characters that we saw in that car is one of the sirens. So that brings us down to 2. You'll also notice, if you were paying attention, that as it pans out towards the end of that, there's a very big focus on Lilith. She's got the wings, she's highlighted, she's in the circle. So Lilith is going to have some kind of important role in this one. She's kind of quite a big important role in the second one, but this is going to be interesting. There wasn't a siren in pre-sequel, was there? No, there wasn't. There wasn't a siren in pre-sequel.
No, I don't think there was.
There's like it kind of. I was watching this on a bus coming home from work, and I had to contain myself because I was like, "There's loads of people on this bus. I just can't start screeching at how good this is." I'm genuinely like, because Gearbox have been teasing stuff for like the last like week and a half. We talked about it last week, but they've been teasing stuff for so long, and it's like, Randy Pitchford, you can only tease me so much before you have to say something, and they finally have. And I didn't notice this at first either. I was just coming home from work and I was just scrolling through our discussions, just seeing what's going on for stuff to talk about tonight. Then I saw Mask of Mayhem, and I'm like, why does that look? Oh, this is the fucking Borderlands 3 stuff. So tomorrow is gonna be the Gearbox PAX panel is tomorrow 6 p.m. UK time. Depending on how long it's gonna run for, if I can find a runtime beforehand, um, I may have that on here and just do a little breakdown because I'm so ready for Borderlands 3, and I think watching reactions to that for me is going to be awesome. Couple of quick things for me personally about that. That's one of the best fucking things I've ever seen in my life. That is how you do a teaser. If I could pre-order it at that moment, just on that teaser, I would have easily. It's so beautifully done. The color scheme and the cinematography, the pacing, it's fucking awesome.
And is it going to be exclusive to the Epic Store?
Just to piss you
Possibly.
off. So. Phil won't be in our next tournament because he'll have to play it on the Epic Games Store, and he's not going to.
That's not. I've said I will be in the next tournament. I've got the Epic Store installed. In fact, I opened it today just because I wanted to see if I could make sure I could find Unreal Tournament. But and then Fortnite did a fucking 6 gigabyte download in the background. Anyway, I'm not going to get into
electricity to my machine.
So impressions.
Are you excited? It doesn't. I'm not as excited as you, that's for sure.
No one's as excited as John.
It doesn't show anything of the game. It's just I obviously don't love
That's
it.
not the
I don't
point.
love the previous ones as much as you. No, I know. It's a it's
teaser.
It's an emotional teaser for people who get excited about.
Yeah. Whet the appetite.
Oh.
I knew it was coming, and this has come out, and it hasn't changed anything for me. But then I haven't finished playing the second one yet, so I don't know quite.
You say that it doesn't tell you a lot about the game, but it tells you a lot about the game.
Yeah, when you understand Morse code and things.
No, the fact that you've got, you know who you essentially know who your villains are going to be. You've seen what the 4 Vault Hunters look like. You've got a rough idea of who some of these NPCs are that they're going to be interacting with. Because Tiny Tina's in there as well. I thought it was Gage, but it's not. It's Tiny Tina. And that's like the 6th time I've watched that, and I've only just figured that out. There's people in there. There's plot elements that are being hinted towards. So there is a lot there about what the game could. I'm going to say potentially because obviously there's always a thing of like they could just be pulling a fucking fast one here and just wanting to get people hyped for it. But I know what's going to happen tomorrow. PAX, they're going to do the
It'll be a mobile game.
And they're...
Borderlands experience on
Someone tell me when he stops glaring at me and I'll come back.
Never say those words to me again. As I'm starting to like you.
Carry on.
So
Hey, you got said in chat too.
No, I know that it's going to be a Gearbox thing to do that they will. Wow. Pick a man while he's down.
We're so
PS
innocent.
Vita exclusive, man. Jesus Christ. They're going to wait and then it's going to be the last game. It's not going to be the first one. It's not going to be in the middle. It's going to be the last one because they're going to know people. That's why they're going to this panel. It's not for anything else they're doing because no one else cares about what they're doing. It's Borderlands 3. It's all anybody's wanted to see from Gearbox. And it's going to be the last thing. And that is so like Randy Pitchford and Gearbox to just be like, yeah. wait. I'm really hoping I see a 2019 release date. Really, really hoping for it. But what do you think then? Because I mean, you've only recently just seen that, but
2019 release date would be ideal, given that they're teasing so early in the year. This is the first quarter of the year; it's almost done. So I don't think. I mean, could be wrong, but I think third or last quarter. I think they probably want it out before Christmas this year. But I wouldn't be surprised if it gets delayed or something till 2020.
They probably do want it to be on the Christmas bundles, or whatever the console refreshes at that point. They'll want to.
So it's been getting worked on for about 3 or 4 years now, quietly and smallly, and then as like people have moved away from like Battleborn and stuff, they've moved over towards the main team. I think about somewhere between 6 months to a year ago, the Gearbox had said that like 90% of Gearbox were working on Borderlands 3 at that point. Then there's obviously the tech demo footage that showed up, which is very clearly Borderlands 3 because one of those characters I'm pretty sure is in that teaser. As one of the new Vault Hunters. So the 4 classes I believe are Siren, Beastmaster, Soldier, and the 4th one is out of my head. Oh yeah, there's also another message hidden in Braille, which translates to the following: full and obey. So which sounds like Handsome Jack's version of like and subscribe. What was the other fucking? Anyway, I can't remember the 4th class, but hopefully Soldier is going to be different to what Roland and.
Yeah, it sounds very stereotypical. Here's your de facto way of playing the game.
As well.
Yeah. So. But they essentially filled the soldier role of any RPG.
If they
like
take
your
that
warrior
soldier role away,
type.
like the soldier commando thing away from having a turret, then it's different. It's different enough, you know? Because fundamentally, the 4 characters play the same. It comes into their abilities where they change. You know, you don't like Claptrap didn't have different hitboxes compared to, you know, like anybody else in that game that I can't remember the name of because I've apparently just blocked out of memory. It wasn't Borderlands' finest moment, but it wasn't bad either. I cannot wait for tomorrow night. I cannot wait for tomorrow night. Speaking of tomorrow night and Borderlands, are we doing the 4-way co-op? Do you want to do that tomorrow, Phil?
Yeah, I'm streaming tomorrow, so we can do.
Sweet.
I don't know, what do you want to do? Do you want to start a new game, or do you want to just join in wherever I'm at? With whatever your lowest character is.
If you're alright with it, wherever you're, because I know you were playing it with Tricky Hamster.
With Hellhound.
Hellhound, yeah. That's who it was.
Yeah. Just put it in Discord now.
No,
there's now a Discord post.
Because I asked you to do it.
You've been thrown under the bus.
I said, could one of you guys put it into Discord, please? And then you went, which Discord? And I went, all of them. Right at the start.
That wasn't here.
Yeah.
You said someone put it in Discord?
Yes.
Did you say it out loud? Because 2 of us are saying you didn't say it. Bob, be on our side, quick.
I am going to sit on the fence.
Fucking traitor.
I'm not betraying by inaction.
I do remember now. I thought you were talking about what story we were going to talk about first, because that's what we were talking about when you said it.
Oh, that's what you were talking about. I thought you meant what Phil just said. I thought you meant. I thought you meant post the link to what you were chatting about.
Would you do us a favour? Post the link in Discord.
Wow.
Soonish, please.
Dear mod.
I'm just gonna go to bed. I think that's what I'm gonna do, guys. That's it. 10 o'clock. See ya. Bye. No. Where was it? I can't remember. The only other thing I've really got to talk about personally is the PlayStation State of Play, which was on Monday. Had some interesting reveals. Iron Man VR, which if it's anything more than what it showed in that teaser, then cool, I'll play that. But it kind of looked a bit sort of turret shootery. Hang on, I shall turn myself up again. I'll do. It looked a bit turret shootery and kind of just gimmicky. No Man's Sky is getting the VR update when Beyond comes out on PS4. Blood and Truth VR. So if anybody played PlayStation VR Worlds, there was a little game on there called The Heist. It was quite fun, but very, very short. The same team that made that have now made essentially a full version of it called Blood and Truth. It's like this sort of East End London gangster crime family heist thing that looks fucking ace. Five Nights at Freddy's is getting a VR game, which looks like it's just kind of going to be revisiting a lot of the old environments with like new story elements and stuff put into it. There was a cool little thing that they showed off, which is called Concrete Genie. That looks quite cool. So it's one of these games that could potentially go quite wrong, but so you play as this kid who's getting bullied and not having a very good life. He doesn't have any friends, and then he finds this sort of brush, and like his town is all sort of decayed and taken over by darkness, and he basically starts painting his own friends, and he has to save that world from the darkness. And it looks quite interesting. It looked like it was just going to be one of these games you just kind of run around and splash and paint and stuff. It looks like there's going to be combat. It looks like there's going to be some pretty solid puzzles to do in it. Well, you see, Richard, the thing about it is, like, in Five Nights at Freddy's, the whole point is that you don't see them coming, but in that trailer, you could actually see them walking around, so you knew when they were right in front of you. You could almost look as if you could literally tell the jump scare was coming, so I'm not sure how it's going to work, because they now physically move around in front of you, and they have animations, and it's not like they just come from the side.
Pop out the side of the screen, yeah.
They're there. So like there was one of like what's her name, Baby, just like you're in a closet and she's just walking towards you, and the jump scare happens. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I'm keeping an eye on it. There's also some PlayStation exclusive content for Crash Team Racing, which is some of the Nitro Kart tracks and some skins. So like they've done like polygonal skins for all the characters from like the PlayStation 1 game, which is quite cool. Observation, not sure about that. Looks kind of weird. Thanks for the host wipe. So Observation is there's a space station, and you're trying to find out what happened to the crew, but you're the AI on board. So you have to kind of like watch them and see what's happening, and I don't know what's going on with it. Seems like kind of thing that you'd definitely like, Bob. So maybe give that a look.
Yeah, I'm definitely keen on that. Is that VR only though?
No. It's from
Right,
Digital. It's like a first-person game that's coming. There was another story trailer for Days Gone, which is looking really good. There's also Mortal Kombat 11 story trailer that kind of revealed some more characters coming to the game. They're messing around with time travel again, but that's Mortal Kombat, so there we go. Vacation Sim, which is a sequel to Job Simulator, which I still haven't played. I've heard it's really fun. Everybody's Golf VR. I might actually buy that because I quite like a golf game, and a VR one might be quite interesting to fuck around with if it's cheap enough. Trover Saves the Universe, which is the game coming from one of the Rick and Morty guys, which isn't solely VR as it turns out. It is a fully fledged normal game just with some VR bolted on the top. So see what happens with that. And then Ready Set Hero. So this was quite interesting to me. So it's a level-based dungeon crawler where you can co-op with someone. You can co-op to 4 people. But once you've gone into the dungeon, another 4 people are competing in the same dungeon in a separate instance to beat you for loot and time. So that could be quite interesting. It could create some interesting things.
Yeah. That sounds vaguely like some Escape the Rooms I've done, where you got 2 teams doing essentially the same puzzles, but in parallel, and basically whichever team gets out first is the winning team.
Yeah, so there wasn't a hell of a lot of information on it. There was quite a nifty little trailer, and it does look quite cool. There's eight or 10 characters that you can choose from. And yeah, I believe that when you start your dungeon, if I remember rightly, you start your dungeon, and then there's another team that's matched with you in numbers. So it's not like there's going to be 4 versus 2. And just the idea is to beat the dungeon first. The other thing for me and you, Bob, what's that, Phil? Sorry.
I was going to say I don't like the sound of that. With those sorts of games, I'd like to take my time and clear areas of the map out, and then slowly do it and go through all my loot. And then if I'm playing with my wife, she'll want to check her inventory and
I don't think it's that kind of
exchange stuff or whatever. And just want to rather than piling through it, whacking everything, and then it would spoil it for me. I think.
I don't think it's
doing it competitive.
I think it's just sort of like a hack and slash. I don't think it's a loot-based dungeon crawler. I think it's just a hack and slash, sort of level-based one. I don't think you're gonna.
So just kill everything.
Basically, yeah. Okay. I don't think it's gonna be like chests and changing gear and stuff because there's like 8 or 10 characters in the game. Like it would be insane. I don't think the characters are particularly unique from each other than their visual style. Again, there wasn't a lot said in the trailer, just sort of what the core gameplay would be. Right, that's as high as I can put it for now. So the one last thing that I saw pop up today is there is finally a trailer for Wolfenstein Youngblood, which is the co-op one with these twins. So I was talking to Calum about this earlier. So they're doing a deluxe edition, but it's a cool deluxe edition because if you buy it, you get another copy of the game. So I was thinking, if me and you're going to play that, which we are, we can split the difference. We can just split the cost of it in half. Buy a deluxe edition, we both get the game, and we play it together. It's also out on the 26th of July. So only a couple of months, and you'll have more Wolfenstein.
Nice, I like that. I do. I really enjoyed the new Wolfensteins. They're so fucking fun.
And it is a full-fledged game. It's not a spin-off like the Old Blood. It's full-fledged, its own thing. Yeah, it is a co-op shooter.
The Old Blood was actually quite good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it is a co-op shooter, but the AI is competent and runs itself, so you don't have to play with somebody to enjoy the game. It will be fine otherwise. But yeah, there's that coming, and I think that is going to be our little summer fuck-around game. Because of the timing of it and just the deal that they're doing, where you get it's called like the Bloody Pass, so you just get another version of the game.
Nice.
Or the other person can play with you despite not owning it, or something like that. So yeah, there's going to be some DLC skins and some DLC weapon skins and stuff like that, which would be quite cool. But I don't think they're going to be game changing or anything. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's me. Who's next?
I can go next. So yeah, we've got about an hour left, so I'll keep mine a little bit briefer than I was first intending. So last week I discussed Metro because I'd started playing the first game and reading the first book at the same time. And Phil, you were asking how closely does it follow the book, and not very is what I can say here. This is the thing. Obviously, the game is action based. It's a first person shooter. The book is not. Monsters like the Nosolosis things, the Nosalis, yeah, the nosy things. They're not in it, as far as I can tell. I'm not finished the book quite yet, but I'm pretty close. I'm like the story roughly kind of follows big key events, starting in Vidianka, playing as Artyom, meeting Khan, Bourbon, those characters. Those events all happen in the book as well, but they happen differently. And you get a lot more insight, obviously, into those characters. The scenes where you're going through the Great Library in the first one, that happens, but again, happens differently. I'm yet to find out about D6, but from what I understand, the ending is based, like the bad ending is based on what's in the book. So
That's what I thought. I said
Yeah.
last week I had an idea and I thought it would be.
Yeah. I did a bit of looking up on the ending because I completed it and I got the bad ending, and I was wanting to check which one was which in the comments. Kind of led me to which ending was in the book, because a lot of them were saying, yeah, it's because I started playing Last Light and it assumes the bad ending.
Yeah, that's why I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't want to say because I didn't want to spoil it for you. But
yeah, appreciate
but
that.
that's where I assumed that was the case.
Yep.
I'm interested. I actually thought over the week. Does it do? You know the bridge level. Do you? I think it's the bridge. No, I might be mixing up a Last Light level. There's the one where there's there's the front line between the Reds and the fascists, and that's a really fun level of sneaking around and stuff. Or it is it was for my second playthrough. It wasn't for my first playthrough.
I started off sneaking and then I got caught and it just turned into a bloodbath as usual.
Yeah.
Standard stealth gameplay.
Is that in the book?
That whole scene, again, in the book, there's a lot less fighting, a lot less action. Artyom doesn't actually kill anybody until like halfway through the story. That's a spoiler for the book, I realise.
I won't bother reading it now.
Unless our viewers are worried about reading 2033 but
Sup, Scott? Sorry, I just seen Scott in the chat. I was looking at an article that just popped up just briefly there about Article 13. So,
yeah. But yeah, and in fact, yeah, the dark ones are obviously in the book. They're the driving reason for the whole story. But that bridge scene, I don't think actually happens at all. Where you are fighting Artyom never fights his way along a bridge to get from one group to another. In fact, I think he comes to the fascists before he comes to the communists in the book, if I remember correctly, because he gets picked up by them at the end of the fascist segment. But yeah, the general big key events are all happen, but they do it very differently in the game, obviously. So yeah, it's quite interesting seeing that. The other thing I'm noticing is the book's writing style is very strange. Like in the game, there's loads of scenes where you get hallucinations coming up, and you start seeing things weird, and your vision goes fuzzy, and it's very obvious there's something influencing Artyom. In the book, it's not obvious at all. It switches from reality to dream to hallucination seamlessly, leaving you sitting there going, "The fuck is going on?" And then you kind of catch up to a point where it jars Artyom back to reality, and then you realize, oh fuck, that's what was going on. And it's quite clever. And it's like, oh wow, the writer has seamlessly blended these things together, so you don't realize until it's too late that what's happening in the story is actually all in his head. And then it will go back to reality and show what was really happening. And the closest you get to that in the game is with Last Light. Right at the beginning, there's this bit in a random tunnel where you're on guard. Dark ones attack. You start like stabbing monsters, and as you kill the last one, your vision cuts to normal, and you're actually stabbing your guard buddies in the side of the head.
I remember that from an article.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh okay. But I don't know if you're playing as Artyom at that point in the game.
It's a dream.
Disconnected. Is it? Oh yeah, it was a dream. That's it. Yeah.
Because you're going to wake up. Yeah, that's right at the start. So that isn't a spoiler.
Right at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like that's that's pre-intro, really, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, because it's like it's interactive in the sense that you shoot and stab a few things, and then most of it's actually kind of cinematic, tappy a lot, to get through it. It's not really combat per se; it's scripted sequence. But yeah, I've been finding this quite interesting, sort of exploring that.
Yeah, Scott, the audio balances are off, dude. I realized as well that I am a fucking idiot, and I've been turning up desktop audio and not mic. I really need to go to bed.
I assumed what you do is just turn the rest of us down on Discord.
I mean, there is that as well. Thank you, Nelly, for.
Then everyone watching has to turn us all up.
Yeah, but it'll do us all at the same rate. It's like taking all the bars on the equalizer up.
Yoink. Nelly, you're fine. That's fine. Right, that should be it.
Sweet.
Hopefully, we'll see. That's probably fucked everything else up for the recording, but well, I still haven't uploaded last week's podcast. To be fair, I just keep forgetting and I'm busy, so it may not always go up to SoundCloud. I guess just kind of be when I remember and also have time and also the
Do them in
conversion
batches.
works. So yeah, Phil, you said you had some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, want to talk about the article, the things you've already mentioned. Is the Mighty Ninja there still? Yes.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing about the Humble Bundle? It's just for you.
Oh, the
You're-
dating sim one. Yeah.
You're sending Ninja unsolicited images.
Well, that image that comes up is not on the source
That
site.
was really funny.
I went back and double checked that wasn't on there. I was sure it wasn't on there, but it's a valid. But it was a valid link to.
Oh man,
you know,
genital
valid
jousting's in
story.
there. I would definitely buy that just for genital jousting. I think it's fucking
Ninja's got
awesome.
them.
You just play as dicks trying to bum each other. It's awesome. It's really funny. And quite
yes.
easily.
Dating sims.
Yes,
That's
It's
exactly
not
how
the
it
kind
works
of
in the
game
real
that you
world.
could do on it's not the kind of game you could do on Twitch. This steamy bundle is filled with visual novels, dating sims, and suggestive party games.
Phil, what are you looking at?
I'm not looking at anything. I was just trying to find the link to post it in the chat.
I've got it here. I've got the link to the actual Humble Bundle. I've not got the one you had there.
Oh, in the chat there, BKD.
Standard Dave Jones. Thank you, Becca. Someone's getting put on the bad team in the next tournament.
And something else caught my eye was because it arcs two subjects we've talked about was the Fallout 76 is now going to be on Steam. Don't know if anyone else saw this.
That is not gonna fucking save it.
Well, I did wonder actually whether you'd be more likely to try it as it's on Steam, because it's obviously well, I mean, it's arcing two subjects. Obviously, the Epic thing with their store, and this was a Bethesda had their own store, this was the only thing on it. But do you think this is going to would this make you try it? Say it was on a free weekend or something.
Nope.
No.
I've had multiple opportunities to buy it for less than a tenner. In fact, I've had opportunities to buy it for less than a fiver, and I've still went, nah.
Wait, which one? What?
Fallout 76.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I still wouldn't. Nah, not even a free weekend. I wouldn't touch it. That game is now. I mean, they're getting. I don't know if you guys saw the thing I posted just before, not long before we went live about Anthem. It's in a similar position because it released a patch that was supposed to fix everything, and then broke everything more.
Mm-hmm.
So like they are, I don't know what's going on with BioWare, and I don't know what's going on with Bethesda. Just fucking clear. Just clean the slate and start again for fuck's sake. You've ruined it. You've ruined it. Matt McMuscles does a show on YouTube called What Happened, and he just put out a video about Anthem, and Jesus, man, that game got fucked. One of the lead devs, I think, could be a designer, it could be someone else, but somebody in a very high position got thrown onto the game just before that pre-alpha, the test came out, and hadn't seen the game for 3 years. He had no idea what it was. He had no idea how it was doing, and he had to come on board and then fix it. Like, very, very close to that pre-alpha. So he had no idea what was happening, no idea who the team was, who was working on what, and kind of just walked into this and went,
That sounds like someone got pulled in for an emergency fix-up, and then he took a look and went, "Oh dear God."
You've done more than I can.
I don't know. Would it maybe? I have not. Maybe I haven't heard the story of DMC. Maybe too. Maybe I have. I can't remember. I probably have. I know that it was a shit show. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe for some people, Fallout 76 coming to Steam would entice them. But I don't think it's enough now. If they had gone for the first month and then went, you know what, let's go to Steam, that might have helped. But I think now the damage has been done. And I find it very unlikely, personally, that it's going to help much.
Okay, that's. I mean, do you the two think the same?
Yeah, I genuinely like that genre of game. I was a wee bit burnt out on anyway. But with all the nonsense that's been going on, the way they've treated the fans, especially, has kind of annoyed me at the point where it's like, well, I'm not going to bother with any more Bethesda games for a good long time until I start hearing positive news coming from them.
And by that, I'm assuming you mean just Bethesda in-house and not because Bethesda have a large stake in Machine Gun Games, who make Wolfenstein, and then id as well, who make Doom. So I just
I mean Bethesda as in Fallout and Skyrim series Bethesda, those people.
I'd still love a Skyrim.
I don't know. I feel I'm kind of done with Skyrim, but that's generally just because I overplayed it. I know,
That's
my
fair.
own fault.
And they're still releasing it.
Yeah. In fact, I did play the Skyrim Very Special Edition a little while ago on Alexa. That was good fun. When I first heard about it, I thought it was a joke. I think almost everyone thought it was a joke. And then we asked Alexa what games she's got, and that came up, and we're like, wait, it's real?
Try it.
So we popped it on, and it's basically like a classic D&D style it's basically a voice controlled text adventure. You get options. You can go to the forest to the north, or the
can't wait for the Skyrim port to the LEDs on my keyboard.
Shh, don't give them ideas.
Man, fucking don't give them ideas, because they'd fucking do it. Jesus, like half the reason half this shit ever got done, you look at Doom and how what people have put that on, like fucking toasters. You can play Doom with a fucking toaster, for fuck's sake. I had Doom running on a calculator.
Yeah.
Like that was people having fun.
And
then Bethesda went, let's do it ourselves and just release it on fucking everything. And then everybody went, really? Like, come on, guys. Like, you're just ripping off fans here at this point. Like, what's your plan here? Like, we're going to release
it wouldn't be so bad.
Special edition, but it's going to be basically the same as the original and not look any better whatsoever.
Oh, the volumetric fog was better. I remember.
That was worth 40 quid.
Totally.
That one thing that somebody bodied in within a month of the game release.
I think the colours were a bit more vibrant, and that was about it. But graphically, it was
30 quid for
The mod
Better
could-
Fog.
Didn't you get it for free? I got the. I paid
If you owned it, yes,
$6.99.
you got it for
Yeah, if you already had, I think it was only a certain version, of it, like one of the deluxe versions, then you got the special edition for free.
50 quid for
But-
longer grass.
I always turned the grass off because it just was ridiculously lag-inducing. Everything else could be on maximum, but grass had to be off.
Fucking grass.
I know.
So
what-
it's
it
in-
did
I
make
so
got
it's
it
in
for
there.
free as well.
Yeah.
I
I think
got
I
it.
did too, but I never bothered with it because I'd already modded the shit out of the original and
Yeah,
had a
it
better.
kind of Skyrim and Fallout are kind of these games that's like modern lightsabers, modern weird shit. Play for 10 minutes. Cool, I'm done. Honestly,
I think my favorite mod though was I only saw this in a YouTube video was the one that replaces dragons with Thomas the Tank Engine.
Randy Savage.
And it's Phil, I'll link you a video later. It's hilarious watching the intro to that game, and instead of Alduin setting everyone on fire, it's Thomas the Tank Engine, and it's actually kind of more intimidating.
I just made it pretty with mods. I made it pretty and I made the sounds better, like village sounds and stuff.
Yeah,
That's all I did with it.
That was always the case. It was always a 50.
Oh, and I added more animals.
Mods. It
Because
was
it's
like
why I was a human.
you had the people like yourself, Nelly, that went, "I'm gonna make this look better," and then you had the people like me that just went, "Put everything in, just everything. Let me play as fucking Yoda. I don't care.
What am I-
Just put it all in."
Well, one of my favorite mods was the hunting one because I found that like about 20% through the game I wasn't playing it. I was just going hunting. Basically, I'd be riding because I never fast traveled because I think it's better in those ones to like actually wander along. And then I'd just see a deer, and then I'd be like, I'm gonna go chase the deer, and then I'd spend about 2 hours hunting. But then the pelts weren't worth any money, so then I got a mod that meant that the pelts were then worth money, and then I didn't do any more mission quests. I just chased deer around the countryside for about 6 hours of my life, and I was like, no, I'm bored of this now. I'm really bad for doing that.
So, Beck, are you talking about the podcast or about
Wow.
Let's Go?
Thanks. It's not me. Actually, do you know what? It's not me you're insulting. It's Blue. Blue did all the fucking the panels and shit. Unless you're talking about me. Like
No, I was talking
specifically
about
this.
us. I was talking about. I was talking about the character models.
Everyone, quick, turn on your beauty filters.
We need to go high. We need to go HD.
We need to have those little, those butterflies. Oh, Bob!
that's my beauty filter.
We need those Snapchat filters, that like trim your face down.
Anyway, back on point. I don't think it'll
Yeah.
do anything to save Fallout 76. I think
Yeah, it won't.
they'll get some more sales for sure because that's what's going to happen. But it will not be enough to make Fallout 76 anywhere near a Game of the Year contender. That's
Mm.
it's
Okay.
unavoidable.
They'll still
fact
release
at
a
this
Game of
point.
the Year edition.
How about yourself then, Phil? What do you think it's going to save out?
I was thinking about it, and that's why I asked. Really, I thought it made me think. Oh, does that mean I'll get it now? But then I thought I wasn't really off it because it had its own launcher. I know I don't like other launchers and stuff, but probably
Yeah,
not.
you're not
You
going
must
to buy a
hate
fucking
that
game,
stuff.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think it probably will make a few people buy them. Would, and maybe it'll improve discoverability for people to just find it by accident and stuff. If you've
And
somehow
not know
not
the
heard of
truth.
the exact, not not heard somehow. I don't know. They were, say they were on. I don't know.
The
Another
moon?
planet for the last 6.
Under a rock? In the sea?
Anywhere that doesn't have internet.
Has anyone seen the Megalodon?
Oh,
That
so
underwater
bonehead.
base thing. They're in there.
Well, Richard said in the chat there that he thinks it was to back Steam rather than Epic. I don't actually believe that. I think it's because they launched it hoping to do their own thing in the way Epic's done and a few others have done, and because the one game they had on there was a total pile of shit, it's just been, what's the point? Why? And they've destroyed so much of the value that people put in the brand just on that now if they want people to buy their game, they're going to have to just put it where everyone wants to shop in rather than expecting people to come to them for it because it's
So they've chucked it in the bargain bin.
You saying
no,
them-
I think
sorry, Phil. Can I carry on? I'll get my point.
I was saying I don't think they chucked it in the. I think they have done with Fallout 76, but I think they've realised that they haven't got a premium product, so their premium store hasn't got any value.
Hey, Richard. Thank you for the bits, buddy.
So, yeah. So carry on, John. What were you going to say?
When did you go from 6,000 bits to 7,000 bits? Did I miss something? I was going to say, you saying there that you saying about Bethesda want to have their own launcher. I think they want to go the way of Battle.net, just having their own stuff and their own thing.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. I meant more that an Epic Store thing.
Yeah, so. I think that was kind of what their approach was. But then, while Bethesda have a very loyal and sometimes toxic community, but, I don't think that
sometimes
is enough for them. Like, Battle.net and Blizzard are honestly these days so much bigger than Bethesda are. So, and then they've got StarCraft on there. They've now got Overwatch and stuff. They have these massive draws for Battle.net for them to come in. Bethesda just doesn't have that.
Also, there's not multiplayer either, is it? There's not the tournaments and stuff that's attached to all of the competitive.
There's not much of that now in Battle.net, but yeah, there was. So.
No, but they've still got Overwatch League and things like that. That.
So Nelly, you'll be glad to know that because you were vastly underprepared and thrown at this last minute, you've got about 10 minutes to fill, and then I'm going to talk about some stuff. So.
Okay. I mean, I don't really have anything. I mean, I've been playing Devil May Cry 4 this week, which is weird because Devil May Cry 5 came out recently. But I can't afford that. And it's also not really my kind of game, but I'm playing it to see if I like it because my boyfriend loves the Devil May Cry games.
Good man.
So I was doing that too. as I'm sure you've noticed because he's managed to mention Devil May Cry and Tekken in the chat, and it's the two games that he's brought up.
He's allowed to stay. He can come to the Discord. He's getting full perks and privileges as he walks into this.
But yeah, so I've mostly just been.
Cry.
What?
Nothing.
I genuinely didn't even hear what you said there.
Alright, carry on, Nelly.
No, I quite like it. It's still not really my kind of game because I'm more like Skyrim and old-fashioned-y thing, like with a bit of magic. Whereas that's very. I don't know what it is, but yeah. But that's mostly what I've been doing, and then playing a bit of Overwatch. I placed in silver at the beginning of my competitive season for the first time ever. I've always started in gold, except for when gold didn't exist in the first season. That was.
Cool. It doesn't. It just carries on your SR beyond the scenes. Right? You're not actually replacing. So you do your 10 placements. If you win 10, you'll end up 200 SR higher than you started, and if you win half,
I've never. I've always been in gold when I finish the placements. Like I've always because obviously I've always got it back up, so I've always done well in my placements to get it back out of silver. I haven't managed to do that this year.
So I understand that as Nellie's not as good as she used to be.
Oh,
I have worse friends.
Sure, blame everybody else but you.
I'm kidding. No, I'm not very good at the game.
It's all me. Everyone else is higher than me. We can just about manage to play with Dino.
Yeah.
Dino's like 1,000 higher than me, just under 1,000, and that was 2 weeks ago. So he's probably.
If he has a particularly good day, then you can't play with him. But
I haven't actually done my placements on that old scan yet. I placed on the other one. Did I think a 1.8 out of 10? So, but that's that's in mid bronze. So this one, the other one's at just below silver, at the bottom of silver. So it's like 15.10 or something. And I haven't done all the placements. I haven't even done any yet, I don't think.
I'm 1853, I think, this time.
I'm level 18 in Overwatch, and I still refuse to do competitive when I get to the point when I can.
You need to be 25.
I know.
Yeah.
Hence why I've stopped playing it, so that I don't get any closer to it, and it opens up the option. And
You
then
don't
people can
have
go-
to play.
And then people can go, but you've got a competitive open. Come on, let's just try it. And I'm going to be like, nah. And then I'm going to get peer pressured into doing it. And I'm going to be like, right, fucking okay. Even though I'm a 27-year-old man, I can just tell you to all fuck off. I'm probably going to do it anyway. But yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, no, I haven't. I mean, I got the Bethesda launcher so I could get Morrowind for free. So how many people does that annoy in this chat?
Do you know what happened in that situation, Nelly?
There's a new launcher. there's Morrowind.
Do you know what happened in that situation? Is that Bethesda kind of just went,
yeah. It made people download it, but I was like, oh, it's a free game. What do I care?
guys, we'll give you Morrowind if you download our thing that no one wants.
And I was almost late to work because of it. It took longer than I thought it was going to.
I own Morrowind and I didn't get anywhere with it. I think it must have been on Xbox. Was it on Xbox or Xbox?
It was on
360?
original Xbox.
So,
Morrowind,
yeah. I think I did.
It was Oblivion,
have
it was
it.
a 360 game.
I think
Yeah, that's right.
it was playable on 360.
It was backwards compatible,
original.
yeah, but it
Yeah.
released on the
It was like the first Halo was for the first Xbox.
Yeah, I did buy it, but I didn't get. It annoyed me that you had to read everything, so that it's pre.
Give me my fucking game!
Yeah, there was so much text. There was no talking. The characters didn't talk. They just put this fucking story up, and you had to read it on your shitty CRT telly, 21-inch TV. It's like curved. We had curved monitors back then, but they curved the other way. I mean, it's like
Phil talking like it was decades ago.
Sorry, you just said shitty SCRTs and I just lost it. Hang on, guys. Wait, whoa. Before we carry this on, Matt, you're supposed to be fucking busy. What the fuck are you doing here? Huh? Bail on us and then you come in at the Twitch chat being like, hey guys, what's up? Huh?
He's unbusied now.
Huh?
It is like 20 to 11.
Huh? Yeah, that's what I thought. Give me those fucking question marks. Sorry, carry on, Phil.
That was it. I was just.
No one will be seated during the John has a go at Matt sequence of this podcast.
No,
okay,
you.
CRT, single speaker, 480 by 640, Xbox, reading text from across the living room. Yeah, it wasn't a great experience. So didn't get very far with that. Got on one of those weird not elephant things, and moved to the next town. Got completely lost, no idea what I was doing. Just didn't get on with it at all. So yeah, won't be getting that even if it's free.
I have played Sekiro.
I'm really glad I downloaded that launcher now from Phil's fantastic review of the game. You have to read everything, guys. How dare they?
If I wanted to read, I'd buy a book.
You get one of those ones, where you have to flick the pages to roll the dice, and then that determines what you do in the game, in the book. I used to love those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they used to confuse me. Yeah, the adventure
The
books.
lone wolf ones and things.
Or
like that.
Mist.
Yeah, my brother used to have them, and then I used to borrow them off him. But then he'd have written all over them, and then I'd write over it, and he'd get really mad. He couldn't remember where he was in them, and I'd be like, ah.
Do they have them on Kindle? Can you imagine that? It says,
Oh god, that'd be so bad.
No. Go back to page 3.
Yeah, you'd be like, you have to randomly type in a number for pages, and they'd be like, God, where was I?
It's a good thing they actually added in page number support a little while back, because that'd be terrible. It's go back to page 3.
But
I have a section number. It doesn't tie to pages.
But it works. But also, if you're my mother, who's completely blind, and you have the font on the biggest, so there's 2 words a page, your pages don't match anything that anything else says. It's like the beach, and that's all she gets, and then she's got to go to the next page. That's not gonna link to one of those game books. But yeah.
Also, I don't think it would work too well with an audiobook.
Oh yeah.
It's
Please
rewind.
returned to hour 3 and 2 minutes. But yeah, those are my gaming related things. If anyone lives near the London area and wants a very cute but incredibly ugly cat, she's up for adoption in Putney Animal Hospital, RSPCA.
Why are you insulting your own cats?
That's not the one in the picture, by the way, just to be clear.
Yeah, no, not this one. She's mine. The other one's called Monica, and we're very sorry about the name. Because we didn't think she was going to have to go and be adopted, and now the RSPCA's got to adopt out a very ugly cat called Monica. And I think, honestly, if someone turned to me and was like, we have this one, she's called Monica, I'd be like, can I have a look at another cat, please? So we haven't given her the best start in life, so please
But
someone
you can
go
call
save
whatever
her.
you want.
Yeah, you can probably change it. She doesn't know she's called Monica. I thought Moni, like Mon or Moni, that was quite cute, but Monica is not a good cat name.
If you've got a cat named Bill, it's a good one to go with it.
Yeah. Or Chandler. You could have like the friends.
So,
But then you're going to need
What?
5 cats.
That's fine. I've got 2.
Or 6 cats.
as
How
I've
many
just
of the
been
people are
gifted
friends?
a sub
Oh,
anonymously.
we cannot hear you, John.
Have I...
Yeah, John's muted again.
Oh, sorry, you're just talking over you.
As has it just been gifted an anonymous sub. I have my suspicions who that came from, but I will not call it out. So we got about 20 minutes left. Since we got about 20 minutes left, I'm going to go through some quick Discord stuff that's been going on. But also, if there's anything you want to ask us, Guy, in the chat, then please fire your questions at us, and we'll answer them. So on Monday, eventually we got quite a successful tournament on the go. Had problems with Rocket League and learning how to get like spectators and private matches and numbers and shit like that. But we got there in the end.
It was an interesting learning curve.
Me and Bob got absolutely fucking destroyed. We scored 4 goals in total for the entire thing. Everybody else scored 10 plus, which was good for the self-esteem. Good for the self-esteem and bad for the wallet because I lost and I have to pay out money now. So the prize up for grabs at the time was 30 quid for first place and 20 quid for second place in digital credit for whatever platform you choose. So that will be done on Friday. So the winners of that, as they know already, will get their rewards, their winnings for that. That then. So today, me and Bob were kind of messing around with running a tournament for a little bit. So the problem with that is it's very, very difficult to set up private matches, and it's going to probably be more effort than it's worth. So we're gonna come up with something else along the same lines. I'm gonna do a little bit of research into Unreal Tournament 3 because GameSpy was part of that when it was out first time round, and that's now gone. But apparently there was other stuff put in place to make it easier to get online matches. So if Unreal Tournament 3 is viable and you guys don't have it, there'll be keys handed out, same as there was for Rocket League. So yep, probably going to do that because Unreal Tournament, it's more fleshed out, there's more maps, it's more stable, it runs faster, it can run on fucking anything nowadays. The way even low-end laptops now, as long as they're relatively new, will run Unreal Tournament 3 quite happily. So instead of an actual prize for the next one, because I can't afford that every time, what we're going to do is there's going to be some roles made up, which, depending on how we do it, whether it's going to be free-for-all or team-based, the winners will be assigned the role of champions. What I'm also thinking about doing is to make things interesting and to promote some activity and some encouragement to play those games is if you have the rank of champion, what I'm thinking is I'm going to allow people to challenge you for it. But it will be limited to the game that you've won it on. Also, what another thing we'll do is the champions at the time of the next proper tournament, not a challenge, they will then be fighting to keep their title as they go forward. When there's opportunities and money for me to do so, there'll be more prizes handed out like that. I just went for the first one. It was, again, something I didn't get a chance to really say on Monday because there was like 8 voices all talking at the same time. So get a chance to say it now. So as I said at the start, I've been doing this for about a year. And in that year, I've managed to, not without help, and I appreciate all the help that everybody's given me and all the support. going forward, and people stepping in to help with the podcast and dropping news and stuff. But in that year, Twitch has given me an opportunity to be a different person than who I was before that. I was very, very quiet, very reserved, very. I wasn't putting myself out there, and I was kind of just going day to day and seeing what would happen. And then I started doing streaming, and I met some people doing like gameplay streams, and then had to stop. And then it became the podcast, which I'd been trying to sort out while I was doing gaming streams, but it just took some time. I sort of said this towards the end of last year, but I've kind of got a better way of putting it across now. I have made genuine friends that, there's friends over the country. Nelly, you, Richard, Ninja. I will come down to London and meet you guys at some point, even if it's while I'm at a con, because I want to do that. I think it would be cool. We'll all go out, get some drinks, and have some fun, So I've made genuine friends, and the support that you guys have shown me has helped me sort of grow and change and adapt, and be a better person overall, be a happier person overall. So the tournament and the cash prize for the winner, digital cash for the winners, was in some small part my way of trying to give back, because I wouldn't be here without you guys. It's the truth of it. You're nothing without your audience, without your fans. So it's you guys had to earn it. I'm not giving out money for free. You had to earn it, but it was my way of giving back. So yeah, and I want to keep doing it. I want to keep doing the tournaments. I think it was a bit of a hassle trying to get everybody together and to agree to a time and be there for it. But I think now that everybody's done it once, there's a bug for it. People have caught a bug for it, and I think, Callum's sitting probably playing Rocket League right now. So I think there's a bug for doing these tournaments, and maybe we'll revisit the same games. Certainly one that is going to happen this year is going to be Halo Reach. We've already sort of discussed that. As soon as that is ready to go into multiplayer is live, that is happening, without a doubt. Owen earned it for you. Yeah, he did. Fucking Owen was on fire.
Hey, Ninja, help!
Fucking hell. Ninja set up some nice goals and scored some nice himself, but Owen was he was in the air all the time. Jesus Christ. Thoughts on Vampire Masquerade 2? I'm playing through Masquerade 1 at the moment, so I'm not really sure. I'm sort of half liking it and half not liking it. And not because of the age of the game, just on its... yeah. That's kind of where things are sitting right now. There's a lot of it now is, I'm working on some new stuff. I'm hoping to, and I've said this before, but I'm actually committing to having the new interview show, even if it's limited run, happen within the first 2 weeks of April. So that's coming, and then I'm working on. I announced it in Discord. There's a builder show that I want to do. So that'll just be like if I buy Lego or something like that, or like a Gundam kit, I'll be doing a stream of that. But I need a second camera for viewpoints and shit. So yeah, there's some good stuff coming, but now I want to focus on the community and giving back and creating stuff for them and for you guys to be involved in and do. There's always the option of letting me know what you guys want to do. The tournaments is just a small thing. It could become a bigger thing and a more regular thing. So, Hooney Pop is good and all, but I doubt my skill at the game sections will be of actual use. Well, it wouldn't be a podcast without Hooney Pop coming up. So, so guys,
it didn't come up when we were talking about the Humble Bundle either.
I know,
it's not included.
Surprisingly. Yeah, it's weird that that's not in there.
I was that close to asking about it.
I didn't mention it because I didn't want it to be too obvious thing for me to say.
You're trying not to become a stereotype.
Guys, if there's any questions, quickly let us know. If not, we're going to close down for the night, because unless anybody's really got anything else they want to talk about, that's pretty much the show for this week. There was a bunch of stuff like last week that I got to, but
I do have one last thing actually, and it's a very quick thing. And it's completely unrelated.
Oh, is this what I think it is?
What do you think it is?
Your random, completely out of nowhere fact thing.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I'm intrigued.
So, some point, was it 2017 or was it last year? A very interesting asteroid got discovered called Oumuamua.
That sounds like
And the
something
reason,
from Gundam.
yeah, and the reason it's interesting is because it is the first interstellar object we've ever picked up. It's the first object we've seen in space that we've gone, yeah, that has to have come from outside our solar system. And its closest approach was an orbit somewhere between sort of Venus-Mercury distance from the sun. And normally when asteroids get close to the sun, they heat up a little bit, and stuff from the surface can boil off. And that produces a little puff of steam or dust or whatnot that will push it along a little bit and accelerate it. Except the acceleration they saw and calculated was faster than it should have been. And of course, all the conspiracy nuts went, "It's an alien! Has to be aliens! It's the only explanation!" Until somebody pointed out, it's like all the assumptions that we made about that asteroid is based around its density being the same as asteroids like from the asteroid belt, or the ones that we, like the comets that we observe, like Halley's Comet and all that. They assume it's dust, gravel, bit of ice. And someone pointed out, it's like, well, if this came from the way outside the solar system, like Oort cloud distance, or the Kuiper belt, it could entirely be a snowflake, literally a gigantic snowflake. Because you think about it, ice crystals form in these fractal patterns. They're very delicate, extremely light. In space, there's no gravity to flatten it. Well, there's not the same gravitational pull to flatten it down. So they reckon it could easily be a gigantic fractal snowflake. And when you run the numbers with that, it is so hollow and so light that it makes sense that it could accelerate from solar radiation pressure pushing it a bit along. So yeah, that's just something I found really fascinating. Giant ass snowflakes about a kilometer in length floating through the system.
Asa said he was watching a documentary about this the other night as well, so you're not alone in that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call out something Becca said there. I feel like Honeypot need to be giving the podcast money at this point for how much advertisement it's getting from us. You're not wrong, and then Ninja followed up with the same would apply to Fallout 76 at this point. I wouldn't accept it. Wouldn't accept it.
Also, they're not exactly getting positive vibes from us.
No.
If they give us a canvas bag, give us a canvas bag.
But really a nylon bag.
Could have been polyester.
So guys, anything from chat before we say our goodbyes?
So
Any questions?
my ninja's like fun point about snowflakes. They always have 6 points. That is very true because that is basic chemistry.
Tried to be born after 2000.
That's also true.
They are also made of snow. Bob, that's a very you joke.
Well, so that's also very true.
No, it says, as I said, they are also made of snow. I said that's a very you joke.
Yeah.
You guys are bonding, like...
We are.
You've watched the same documentaries, you're making the same jokes.
I'm
going to find this person.
Joke about 2000 and the snowflakes. I don't actually get that.
It's the generation born after 2000 have been called snowflakes.
Oh, right.
Because
Okay.
Millennials are snowflakes.
they're easy to offend
After
and
millennium.
fragile.
After the millennials.
Yeah.
Millennials.
So the millennials, yeah, the
Too
other half
lot.
of them is
You
snowflakes.
millennials.
Yeah.
Which is weird because we're the
Soft
generation
and
that grew up with South Park. So how are we offended by anything?
It's not something I realistically want to get into in the podcast. But
Fair.
But the one thing I will say is that there is a thing, and I've noticed this in my personal life. There's a thing about people not liking being told no and not getting their way, and then they just get like, "Well, I'm offended by that," or I don't agree with that, and I'm going to call you out for it in like the biggest way I possibly can. It's like the people who go on Twitter and just start and just be like try and just be a warrior over absolutely fucking nothing, and it's like fuck off. Go back to your fucking cave where everybody else lived like before the internet. Just fuck off and leave everybody else alone. There's no need for this shit. Like, so let's do it. Bob, anything from you before you go?
No, that's me. I've given away my snowflake fact. Snowflakes, so I'm happy with that. So I will say good night, folks.
Nelly?
I got nothing. Bye.
Good talk. Phil?
Stream tomorrow, Borderlands 2 with
Hopefully,
Yeah.
all four of us, Matt instead of Nelly, obviously, but hopefully all four of us. We should all be there. If not, me and Bob definitely will for a little while.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be cool. We'll figure out specifics of that. I'm busy in the afternoon, but you're not streaming till night, so we're all good there. Anything else?
I was just going to have a look at what conferences are on in Telford International Centre. You'll see there's some excellent ones here, like the British Cheerleading Association All-Star Nationals. If anyone wants to go there, I'm not going to that. So if you're interested, there's Dickinson, the Real Deal. I don't know what that is. Sounds like a game show.
Or it could be like fucking David Dickinson or some shit.
There is at least once a year there is a streaming based one that you've never heard of in Telford. So I'm just wondering when it is. I wonder if it's here. I didn't go to Comic-Con last week or the week before, whenever it was. Still thinking about whatever the one is in next month.
In May.
Insomnia. That's in
I won't be
April.
Insomnia.
My brothers love Insomnia.
There's a possibility that I may still be down to London in May, but it's becoming less and less likely as the weeks and stuff go on because my glass is broken. I've got parent money for that, and I've still got carpet for my bedroom and stuff. So I may have to be like, I'm not going to be there. So we'll see what happens.
Where was that to?
EGX or MCM? I can't remember which one it is. EGX is the end of the year, I think, though. So it might be
MCM.
It might be an MCM,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that.
On 3rd of July, there's the Association of Anaesthetists Trainee Conference.
So we've got to go to that. There'll be drugs there.
I think it'll just send us to sleep.
Yeah, I was trying to think of one. I couldn't. That's it basically. Other than
I've held back a whole bunch, so
He's being very good. Very tame.
John hates my puns, so I endeavour to make them regularly.
Ninja, we should get Ross to join the chat if John hates puns.
I don't hate puns. I hate Bob's puns. Because he has the fucking smuggest look on his face when he cracks it. And it's like, I want to laugh, but I also want to punch you in the face.
We have a friend from uni who I think all of his
he's glad
his handles are pun lord, so it's his life.
It's Bob's glad I moved to Aberdeen because he knows that he can make them now, and I can't really do anything with them until I get back. And then by that time, I've basically forgotten about them. So
yeah. The other nickname is the Punisher.
Richard, please fuck off. Just
leave him alone.
Officially, fuck off. That's the official line. Anything else, Phil? Any other interesting?
Not really. I was just going to say, people in the chat, if you want to carry on talking to us, don't forget to join the Discord. There's a link somewhere floating around there. Scroll up a bit and you find it.
There you go.
Or John's popped it in. There you go.
Oh, come on, Twitch chat! It's almost over. Why are you hurting?
Oh god, I think I've started something horrible now.
Alright, Richard, you're forgiven for 100 bits. Thank you very much. I'm official. Give me money and I'm okay. So for me, basically there's a new tournament being planned. Head to Discord like Phil said. Come and join in our conversation about just anything now, really. What was that? 9 bits. Thank you for your 9 bits, Ninja. come and join in our conversation, which has now opened up to everything beyond gaming for the most part. So music, TV, film, whatever. You know, even just things that you find interesting in general, like Bob's asteroid thing.
Snowflake.
Celestial objects, yeah.
Just come in, join us, and talk to us, and get to know all of us. We play games pretty regularly. There's always something going on. Yeah, that's kind of it, guys. There will be no Sunday show this week because I'm working, and it's the Christmas staff night out in March. I do work for a restaurant, so we tend to kind of hold off on these kind of things until a bit later in the year. So yeah,
Call it Easter meal, can you?
I guess. Yep, go Discord, and then there'll be no Sunday show, but we will be back next Wednesday for the new podcast. There will also be all of the April Fool stuff that come out from the gaming industry that we'll be able to talk about next week, which will be really cool.
Oh yeah.
There'll also be Borderlands 3 news, which I'm super looking forward to, if that wasn't obvious from earlier. So guys, on that, it's time to say goodbye. I always forget this line. If you take the wrong turn, you might truly end up on another misadventure. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.